Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's Community and Infrastructure Service Committee meeting. We have several items on consent items. Do we have a mover? Councillor Davey. Do we have any discussions on any of them? Councillor Fernandez.
Yeah, I have questions. Are you going to just go through one at a time?
Yeah, we'll go through one at a time.
Okay. So my questions are on item number 5, with relation to the MTO Highway 785 improvements. One of my questions was additional traffic on detoured streets. How are we addressing that and dealing with the likelihood that there will be?
Mr. Carmichael.
Yeah, thank you. Through you, the chair, to the committee. These detours are overnight detours. I don't know the exact hours, but I think they typically run from about 10 p.m. till 5 a.m. is when they're doing the night work. This is purely paving work on the collectors and the express lanes of the expressway. So the detour volume should be minimal. And they're encouraged, obviously, to use the main roadways to detour around, but we're not expecting much of an impact. These operations have occurred on a number of occasions in the past with no negative feedback coming back on them. Okay,
all right. And my other question was, of course, we'll have some signage so that we will impact the small collector, the smaller streets. I'm thinking like 6th Ave, 5th Ave. Is that likely where the detours will go, then I would expect?
This report has 2 separate construction areas that they're seeking a noise exemption for. The nighttime detours is more in reference to the Highway 785 work and the paving operations going on there. So that's going on from Krug up to Lancaster Street.
Okay.
The other one, Franklin Street, is a full-time closure through the summer for 9 weeks. And we're anticipating, we had it closed close to 10 years ago when they originally did the bridge work there. And we will be signing it proactively from the surrounding main roads to try to keep them out of the local roads. But typically, there's really not any benefit for anyone to go through there as a detour. So if they've done it once, they'll find the better route the next time. It's important to note that the bridge, while it's closed, will be maintaining cyclists and pedestrian traffic across it.
Okay, good. That was my next question, because I know that there's a grocery store just on the other side of the bridge, and I know a lot of people from that area use that grocery store.
Exactly.
So, okay. All right. Great. Thank you. Now, do you want me to go to the next one, or do you want to just see what Councillor Yanetsky wants?
We'll see what Councillor Yanetsky has, and then we'll head. Councillor Yanetsky.
Yeah, item number 4, the on-street parking on Dutchess Avenue. I did receive an email just this afternoon from one of the property owners who are not able to attend because of all the weather all of a sudden, and has expressed their support for this particular recommendation for staff. So they want to be acknowledged. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Marsh.
Thank you. I just want to mention that I had some complaints from constituents in the fall about the noise level at night for some construction, and I just want to ask, how are we going to mitigate any excessive noise when we have this, sort of blanket noise bylaw exemption for 3 months? Can we be responsive if it's excessive noise? Or
thank you. Through you, the chair. In response, I offer that they're rare, but we will get the occasional call on that. And I think I probably talked to the same resident you talked to, Lang Crescent, I believe, was the complaint in the fall about the work on the expressway. But what we'll do is follow up directly with the Ministry of Transportation's project manager, and they'll follow up with the contractor to see what they can do. They'll contact the resident directly and see what they can do to reduce the impact.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Councillor Fernandez.
Yeah, my question is on the Felsinger Park stream naturalization. Those bypass pumps can be quite noisy, and we're talking about doing some work in the warmer seasons. Did we receive any complaints when the work was being done between October well, it said phase 1 of the work in 2014. It didn't say when exactly that was done.
Mr. Gross?
Through the chair, to my knowledge, there were no complaints about the pumps. The pumps themselves were well muffled. They are the modern pumps that do pump 24 hours a day have silencers. There's also a plywood barrier that's built around them to try to force the sound upwards instead of outwards. So the answer is no. I'm not aware of complaints from last year as a result of the pumps.
Okay. And are they well protected from vandalism and intrusion from people?
Through the chair, they're about as well protected as you can be.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you.
Okay, I see we have, Councillor Marsh.
Sorry. Just a quick question for staff regarding affiliation for neighborhood associations. I'm just curious if we do have additional neighborhoods that organize throughout the year, and want to be affiliated, do they wait until 2016 to become officially affiliated, or is there room to add as the case arises?
Mr. May?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Actually getting to a point where a group is ready to be affiliated is actually a bit of a lengthy process, so it generally works out that it can wait until the following year, but if there was a pressing need, we'd certainly bring it forward.
Okay, thanks.
We have no further questions. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Next item up is discussion items in regards to on-street parking regulations for Waterloo Street. Just to make a note that this matter was deferred from the December 8th, 2015 meeting, 2014 meeting. I will have Mr. Ken Carmichael. Can you please speak to the report, please?
Yes, thank you. Through you, the chair, to the committee. We received a request last year in 2014 to review parking on Waterloo Street in the area of Shanley Street due to safety concerns at the intersection for traffic traveling along Shanley and then proceeding from the stop sign through Waterloo Street, which is a through street, looking to your left, which is to the west. Vehicles parked too close to the intersection created a sight obstruction there and reduced safe sight lines. Last year we did a resident survey with the residents directly affected in that area, and it came back with of 14 people, 14 residents surveyed, 9 responses, 7 in favor of prohibiting parking. Through the consideration at the Community and Infrastructure Services Committee meeting December 8th, we were asked to reassess this and take a further look at it and re-engage the residents on it. We did so, reissued the survey. We looked at flipping the parking to the other side, and that was part of the survey that we provided to the residents the second time to potentially prohibit parking on the opposite side of the street. Having said all that, the second survey came back, total of 11 responses out of 14, 8 in favor and 3 opposed. So it still has the strong support of our recommendation to prohibit parking on the south side of Waterloo Street, which is reflected in our recommendation in the report.
Okay, thank you for that. We do have 2 delegations for this item, and I just want to remind those who are present that pursuant to Council's procedural bylaw, delegations are permitted to address the committee for a maximum of 5 minutes. And so we do have Patricia Olander and Bruno Renda.
Yes.
You may. Are you going to speak together, or are you speaking separate? Yeah. Together? You may please come on.
Yeah. Just that we can't hear anything back here. Yeah. We're a little deaf.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
We're here for the recommendation of the no parking on the Waterloo Street.
Okay.
We're representing that.
Okay.
And we're neighbors.
My name is Bruno Renda.
And I'm Patricia Olander.
Yeah. Then I live in 96 Waterloo Street for 36 years. And then one of the they make the road near the 6-5 meter down. What's the curve? Two people was killed there. Now I have a double driveway. My kids never come park there because they're scared to go out because lots of cars park there. Sometimes they hit the car. One time my daughter hit one car, they pay $700 to fix the car. Another time my boy hit another car, I pay $600 to fix another car. Yeah, that's because, you know this, one of the go out park. Now, couple of years ago, when after was another accident, then I report because should be no parking there. Now, one neighbor come there, he parks 7 days a week, 24 a day, because he go on the holiday, leave the car right beside the front of my driveway. Now, today I share the hill there. When she go down, they park the car right back. Sometimes they can hit the car. Hit one car. His brother hit one car one time.
If the hill is slippery, if it's been snowing, we try to clear it off as best we can. It's on a hill, and when we go down, chances are we could go into that car that's parked directly by our driveway.
Okay.
And the neighbor beside me, he's been saying the same thing, and his is on the hill too. So there's just it's inevitable that we could hit that car, and this is why we want no parking on that side.
Okay, 65 meter up in
65 meters would do it.
The Chandler Street to Waterloo Street.
Another thing too is I think that we could have the stop signs, 4-way stop on Waterloo and Shanley. That might help too.
Okay.
Because you can't see around the corner when these cars are parked here and you're coming this way, you can't see what's coming around here. Because I know I almost got one like that.
Okay. Do we have questions for the delegations? Okay, we have a few questions for you. Councillor Marsh.
Hello there. Thank you so much for coming in and for representing your opinion. That was the staff recommendation back in December, as you're aware. And what we wanted to do was to see if there was any interest to, see if we could have parking on the other side of the street, because there are residents who wanted to, still have parking, and they have legitimate reasons to want to park there. But upon further, investigation, we see, as staff have said, that there are too many accidents. So I just want to thank you for coming and representing your opinion, and I'm prepared to put that forward. Thank you.
Okay, so you're gonna move the recommendation. Okay. Councillor Yaneski.
Yes, to the delegation, I understand your concern. I just want to know what addresses you both live on so I can see where it is on the street.
Before you get into
Our
that,
address?
we don't need to know that information.
Why not?
Because that
I don't know what he's talking about.
privacy laws.
Well, how do I know where they live then to help support the
They
application?
already said it, and they didn't have to state their address. But Mr. Wilmer, you care to address that further?
No, I think you've covered it. It really is because of privacy legislation. We are not to be releasing people's name and address in a public way, and this is a web-streamed meeting. If you need to know generally where they live or how far from the intersection, those type of general questions might help. I think in general, though, if people care enough to be here, they must live close by.
Okay. Yes. Councillor Marsh, do you have any further to say, or you just want? Okay. Okay. Thank you. You can sit down. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Next item is item number 10, dealing with the summary water report, January 1st to December 31st, 2014. And Ms. Mick is here to speak on behalf of that report. Welcome.
Through the chair. The annual summary water report is a regulatory report that we're required to bring forward to council. Can you hear me now? Okay, so the summary water report is an annual report we're required to bring forward to council. It summarizes sort of water quality and as in addition to flows in the system. So one of the things it mentions is the number of adverse water quality incidents we had in the year. We had 34. Just to put that in context, we took approximately 2,200 bacteria tests and another 2,800 chlorine residuals. So that just gives you an idea of how many times we have adverse water. And every adverse water incident has a response. The MOE is contacted, the health unit is contacted, there's paperwork done, and there's follow-up completed. Are there any questions?
We do have a couple questions for you. Councillor Davey.
Thank you. Just one, and forgive me if it's in the report, I didn't see it, but how, it does say, like, how does the 34 compare with previous years? Like, are we going up or down? How's it trending?
Through the chair, the previous year we had 23. Over time, we don't necessarily trend up or down. It seems to be more incident related. For this one, if you read a little further along, 21 were due to temporary water mains, and 10 of those was due to a single reconstruction project, Lane Crescent. So if you have an issue on a certain street, every time you resample and it's adverse, you have to re-report that.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Fernandez.
Thanks. You did clarify the one question I had because of the 10 incidences. So that leaves 14 other ones which are on this list that I've just been reviewing. One of the things I wanted to know is the need for a temporary water main, and correct me if I'm wrong, would be because there's a reconstruction happening?
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Okay.
Through the chair, yes. When they do a reconstruction project, they take the water main out of service. So to provide water, a smaller diameter plastic water main is set up. It's chlorinated the same way we chlorinate a new water main. So it takes about a week to set up, and it's above ground. If you've been to reconstruction projects, you'll see that. And there's also testing posts that are above ground as well. So sometimes those are sources of issues when we do the sampling, but they're related to reconstruction projects.
Okay, so and you did cover that in here, that sometimes that will give a false reading. The other question I was having was regarding the lead testing sampling. There was one lead exceedance in the distribution set, and then when the resample came back, it came back with levels less. So I don't understand why. I mean, why would that seems like quite a discrepancy. I mean, can you help me understand that?
Through the chair. When you have a hydrant and you haven't used it for a long time, sometimes some of the parts have lead in them, some of the older hydrants. So if it's not adequately flushed, it's sucking that water that's in the barrel that's been sitting there. So it's not really indicative of what's in the distribution system, it's what's in the hydrant. So that's why when we did a resample, we did a good solid flush, and it brought that out.
When we're doing flushes like that, any kind of flushes, does that help move, like does it help circulate the sediment and get it out of the system from those pipes?
Through the chair, our dead end main flushing is a low flush, so it doesn't really stir much up. When we do unidirectional flushing, that's when you go at a high volume and it will clean the water mains. And get that sediment out of there.
Okay. And how often would we be doing this kind of flushing?
Through the chair. We haven't done it in a number of years. We used to swab the water mains, but now the move is towards unidirectional flushing. So it's quite a program to set up. We started doing it last year, was our first time doing it in probably 8 or 9 years, maybe a little bit longer. And we learned a lot through that. So that's our plan going forward, is to increase the number of areas and kilometers of main. I'm going to be bringing forward a management review report in March, and things like unidirectional flushing will be in that report in more detail.
Okay. So you said it was unidirectional flushing, so that would be like down a street entirely without any dead ending at all. Like because I live in a court, I'm expecting that when you talk dead ending, that would be a dead ending kind of flushing. Whereas on a straight street or a continuous street, that would be your unidirectional flushing?
Through the chair. Dead end main flushing, you're correct. It's usually at the cul-de-sacs. So that's where we go in, we just flush maybe for 20 minutes if everything is good and we don't have an adverse. So we're not doing the flushing to clean that area. We're just flushing to bring in clean water and just circulate the water and make sure it's circulating.
Okay. So why haven't we been doing this unidirectional flushing for all these years? You said we haven't done any for 8 years?
Through the chair, at least 8 or 9 years I've been here. It had to do with some operational changes. So swabbing used to be the way we do it, and across the region we had a lot of manganese in the water, and they've improved treatment at the plants. So a lot of our discolored water calls decreased due to better filtering and treatment at the plants. So part of it was we weren't getting the calls that were saying that we had an issue. So we sort of stopped doing it. And then the other issue we had with swabbing is if you have a poor condition main, sometimes you push a swab in there and it causes more problems. So swabbing wasn't the best idea. So now we've started to have some areas that have some discolored water, and we're starting to clean them in a new way.
So we only do flushing when there's discolored water. We don't do it as a regular maintenance to our water mains?
Through the chair. We should do it as a regular maintenance item. Yes. So we are starting to incorporate that as part of maintenance. So right now, our highest priority would be where we've seen sort of a history of discolored water, and then eventually, as we go through this, we'll cover more and more area until the whole city would be on some type of schedule.
Go ahead, Councillor Fernandez, if you want to continue. Oh, just one.
Is there other questions? Because otherwise, if there's other questions, I'll read.
Okay. Councillor Schneider?
Just out of curiosity, the symbol, the 10, whatever that symbol is per liter, could you explain that to me?
It's micrograms, so it's like 1/1000th of a milliliter. Okay. Very, very small. ppm would be another way, parts per million.
Okay, great. Thanks so much.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor Fernandez.
Okay, thank you. I guess this is kind of getting to the crux of my concern, is that if we have not been doing regular flushing of the mains, has this compromised our pipes?
Through the chair. We monitor our water quality concerns that come in. So when someone has a discolored water, we do respond to that and we do flush the mains. We just don't do a whole program. So unidirectional flushing is more than just flushing. Like, you have to isolate valves and do it a section of a time. You have to come from a clean source. So it's a very big program to plan and carry out. Now, if you were to call on your street and tell me you had discolored water, we would certainly send somebody out and they would do some flushing and they would flush it till it ran clear. That may not resolve the long-term problem, but it would resolve the short term. And often discolored water is as a result of some other operational issue. There's a water main break, so the water has been forced to go in a different direction and stirs up sediment. So you may have discolored water because of a water main break and then never experience that again. So we do respond to that as well.
Mm-hmm. And that's, I mean, I wasn't questioning that. I think what my bigger concern was the lack of flushing, so that the pipes start to build up sediment in the insides of them. We've seen a picture like that recently at one of our more recent reports during budget. And so really my questioning is focusing on the fact that if we had been doing some regular flushing, would we have picked up on where the water mains may be sensitive, or would we have maybe created our own water main break because something was already starting to transpire?
Through the chair. I'm not sure that there's like a direct correlation between that, but absolutely there is a correlation between routine maintenance and water mains, particularly when you come to water valves. Water valves need to be maintained, because if they're not maintained and you go to use them in an emergency, they don't work. You've got to go to the next valve. Your outage is longer. There's more people affected. It takes longer to isolate. So absolutely, maintenance is very important, different kinds of maintenance. But I'm not sure of the the direct correlation between water main cleaning. I would feel that it would be more of an aesthetic and even chlorine residuals, because anything in the main could eat up the chlorine residual. So from a water quality standpoint, it is something we should be doing. As far as an infrastructure maintenance directly related to the lifespan of the infrastructure, I wouldn't quite make that link.
Okay. I guess my only other question was that this is the recommendation here is required as of a particular schedule as part of the Safe Drinking Water Act. The numbers of adverse water quality incidents that we've had for the size of our city would indicate to me that we've got probably a very good record with the MOE as regard to our water quality.
Through the chair, yes, we do.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, do we have a mover? Councillor Davey. All those in favor? Opposed? It's carried. The last item on the agenda for today is item number 11, dealing with a contractor PO extension for Shirk Place Bridge rehabilitation. And Mr. Gross is here to answer any questions. Councillor Davey.
Thank you. How long has this bridge been closed for now? When was it originally shut down?
Through the chair, the bridge was shut down in late September.
Late September. Okay, I don't have any questions on the report, but assuming it goes through, do we have an idea of when the bridge would be reopened?
Through the chair, the bridge is open now. It will need to be closed in the spring to finish the work.
Closed in the spring, okay. And then how long does it, I'm not sure it says in here, how long is the work expected to take?
Through the chair, it doesn't say that specifically. Based on the amount of work, I suspect it would be 6 weeks.
6 weeks. Okay, thank you, and I'll be happy to move this, Mr. Chair.
We have no further questions. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. And that concludes today's Community Infrastructure Service Committee agenda. Please give 5 minutes. We're going to switch over to council, special counsel. 5 minutes. It's not till 5? Oh, so we have lots of time. All right. So we're good till 5 o'clock. That's because I chaired this meeting, and that's why everything went fast.